What's up, everyone? So had an issue with this car earlier this week where I went to drive it. So I went to go put the key in the ignition. I turned the key. Well, this one's a manual, so put the clutch in, turned the key, and there was a loud click, and then basically all power just died. So power, door locks didn't work, windows, when you open the door, usually the window goes down a little bit. That wasn't working. No lights on the dash, no dome light. There was absolutely no power going to the car, as if the battery was disconnected. And couldn't figure out what was causing it. It actually happened a couple of times, but I finally figured out what the issue was. So you can see I actually have some corrosion here. But basically, for this negative battery cable / terminal, if you can see here, there's a ground, and the ground and the negative cable both basically become sandwiched in right inside here. So this car is 14 years old now, so I'm assuming with over the years, the various times the negative terminal was removed, there's not a lot of slack on here, so I'm assuming from wiggling it and moving it. You can see closely here, these are some of the exposed wires, and they had come out on this car. So basically what I did to fix this issue, I just removed these two bolts, and this little plate comes right out, and then I basically made sure that this ground, the two wires between the ground and the negative terminal, the negative battery terminal, basically I made sure they were sandwiched and touching together, and then I squished them back in and tightened these two bolts back on, and then reconnected it to the battery. So now I don't have any more issues starting. I probably need to, like I said, I need to go ahead and remove the rust on there. I probably need to take this off and clean it. But yeah, if you are having any issues with your battery, like I said, with mine, I went to turn the key and the car would not start at all. It just acted as if I had disconnected the battery. So I was able to diagnose it to a bad ground. I think, like I said, over time, the cables had kind of pulled themselves out of the terminal, so I wasn't getting a good connection, or the ground itself was not getting a good connection. Either way, if you have an issue with that, that's more than likely what's going to be your problem. You need to take off these two bolts. This sandwich comes off, this plate, which sandwiches these two together. And I just made sure I overlapped one on top of the other and then tightened these down so they had a nice good connection. So these two are sandwiched properly and connected well to this plate, which again connects to the battery, and I made sure these two were properly connected, so there's a good ground. So if you have any issues with your car not starting or it basically going dead, that's where I would check first. Hope this helps, guys. I don't know if anybody else is having this issue, but I had this issue a couple of times. Usually it would go away by itself. I let the car sit for a couple of hours and come back and try and crank it, and it would crank back up. The last time I actually had to remove one of the terminals so the battery reseat it, and then it came back up. But I was finally able to chase down the issue to that terminal. So hopefully this helps.